If COVID-19 wasn't dominating the news right now, what would be some of the biggest stories be right now? Egypt and Ethiopia are close to going to war due to Ethiopia building a dam on the Nile River. Ethiopia is diverting some water and limiting water flow to Egypt. The Ethiopian government is refusing to honor previous agreements made that detail the rate at which they will fill the lake behind their dam, and they refuse to negotiate any further with the Egyptians. Does Ethiopia have the military strength to take on Egypt? I don't know much about Ethiopian military, but Egypt gets over $1 billion a year in military aid from the USA and have the largest standing army on the continent. Egypt is second strongest Arabic nation. It depends on the type of war though. Ethiopia has wild geography, an invasion would by no means be easy. It sounds as if the Egyptian army would have to be the aggressor in this scenario. Egypt definitely has the stronger military, but it would be a tough war to effectively win. CRISPR was just successfully injected into a live patient to treat genetically caused blindness. The ozone layer is getting better. This is the first positive news I have read in this thread. The nearly 2-year-long Ebola outbreak in the DRC has ended. The last patient to be treated has survived. Wow. I was worried about this a couple of months ago, but then the pandemic that must not be named took over my attention and I forgot about it. Incredibly brave people fighting Ebola. Such a scary disease. Yeah, the people that get out there to treat patients are some of the world's biggest heroes. I can't imagine how scary it must be to be living in a place with an Ebola outbreak going on. Thank God it's all over now. That was the last bit of positive news I got before all this started happening. Earn It bill, it seeks to end encryption in the USA. It would be a huge hit to online free speech. If the bill only ends encryption in the USA, how does it work when Americans interact with encrypted sites registered to other parts of the world? Because they can't technically ban encryption. They could probably force App Store owners, Google, Apple, to not allow apps that use it, but they cannot ban the technology. Brexit. I almost miss it. I do miss it. It never affected me, but I loved hearing British people yelling at each other when I turned on NPR, and the whole thing just sounded really cool. Brexit was with me through 3 different homes, and 2 different countries. The former King of Spain and his Swiss accounts. Wow. That is crazy. Seems like it's the perfect time to get away with whatever you want. Friend of mine works in accounting and he said his company is planning on seeing a massive spike in fraud with all the bankruptcies expected to occur. People trying to sneak under the radar, so to speak. Not sure it's trying to sneak under the radar versus the jig being up. Like if I embezzled $1 million and things are going well with the company, I can cover it up. The accounts have $1 million less than what management thinks, but the business keeps operating. Suddenly a crisis hits, the company needs to spend that million, and there's no way I can conceal that it isn't there. Boom, fraud detected. This is what happened to a previous boss of mine. He wasn't letting us write off uncollectible invoices, usually duplicate invoices, so it looked like a lot of money was owed to us. Then a downturn hit and the board wanted to borrow against the large accounts receivable balance but couldn't because the bank did an audit which showed those invoices are all uncollectible. I had to quit the job because he kept trying to get me, the accountant, to say those invoices were collectible, but I simply wouldn't because I knew they weren't. If I'd have known why he wanted me to lie, I would have gone above him, but I thought he was just an idiot. One of the main routes into downtown Seattle, the West Seattle Bridge, was closed yesterday because cracks in support beams made it structurally unsound. It will take several months to fix and will not reopen until it's done. This would normally destroy the entire Seattle commute, but it happened right now, so it's barely even a blip on the local news. Real talk, this was probably the best possible time for this to happen. Real talk, they likely knew about this for a long time, and we're waiting to find a time to close it. My new favorite conspiracy theory is that COVID-19 was created by the Municipal Transportation Authority in Seattle. Probably the oil price war actually. Saudi Arabia is trying to force the Russians into cutting production since they won't play ball with OPEC+, and US shale might pay the price as we need high cost for this entire industry to function. I work in the oil industry. This is huge right now. It's honestly just about the same as the coronavirus for us. Hours getting cuts, people losing their jobs, etc. All due to oil price and not coronavirus. US shale is paying the price. Even without the virus, it would kill our economy. Yes, it did start before coronavirus, but the impact happened at the same time. That Putin changed his country's constitution so he can be president until 2036. I think we've all known for a while that dude's going to leave power in a casket and not a moment sooner. I mean, he could go the North Korea route, having him as supreme leader forever and the person running the country just be like the prime minister. The locusts in Africa. Well, probably not in American news. But it's still pretty big news, Imo. It's hitting Pakistan too, and China is prepping to send 700,000 ducks to stop the locusts. Easy to control, and one duck can eat 200 locusts a day. Duck Force. Bill Gates leaving Microsoft. Whoa. Bill Gates left Microsoft 12 days ago. I don't think it changes much. He was on the board, not running daily operations. I doubt they would ignore him if he made a suggestion, though. Yeah, not at all. The company will be perfectly fine without him, and I'm certain they will always listen if he comes back. If anything, it shows he feels the company is in great hands and that he can walk away. The 2020 presidential election. Seriously, who the fuck is going to win? The fact: scientists discovered a new dinosaur that was the size of a hummingbird, and they also found a new planet behind Pluto in our solar system. Edit. Thank you to all the kind people who pointed out that the new planet they found is actually an exoplanet. Country leaders trying to secure their position as heads of state for unlimited duration. Example: Russia and Ukraine. Azerbaijan, Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan. It took you this long.